I think Arnab is just a kind of an example and also a symbol of what the future of the news media is going to be about. So there's a very thin line between reporting the news and influencing the minds of the people.
Hi everyone, joining us today is Mr. Ramgopal Verma. Sir, thank you so much for taking time out to do this with the Quint.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah.
You're somebody who redefined what horror was all about in India, right? You made films like Raat, Kaun, Bhoot. What is it about the genre that excites you?
I think I always loved to scare people ever since I was a kid. I think that's one main thing. And second thing is, I think as a genre, as a filmmaker, I think it will require the maximum usage of film tools like music to sound effects to camera movements to performances. I think that's what which attracts me to come back to the genre again and again.
In the West, we're seeing a lot of series being made out of horror now. We saw Haunting of a Hill
Yeah,
House, we saw Bly Manor. Do you think that is something that can excite Indian audiences as well? Is that a space that you'd like to explore?
I have my reservations on something like that working in series. Because it's more theatrical. Like if you look at any time you watch a horror film, the moment they get scared, they all laugh together. It's just like it works like a roller coaster ride. But I think on a one-to-one showing of a horror film on the web, I doubt, because in fact you actually can't see a horror film on your own. So personally, for me, a horror series doesn't excite me that much.
A lot of horror films in India, we've seen they sort of resort to a lot of jump scares, a lot of sound effects. How do you make sure that you keep reinventing yourself and not
Yeah.
just repeat something that you've tried before?
See, for me, fear is much more to do with if it chills you from inside. I don't think it's so much about like what you mentioned just now, jump scare, because that's a very momentary thing. I mean, a real horror film, I think, will make you take the fear back home. You know, in fact, one of the greatest compliments I've ever had in my life is when my mother saw Booth, and she told me she went back home, and at that time she was alone for some reason. She didn't know whether to keep the windows closed or not. She told me she was very confused about how to deal with it. And then she kept on telling herself that this is my son's imagination, it's not real. It's my son's imagination, it's not real. She kept on telling that herself. Truly real, a great horror film is about it kind of unsettles you. It kind of shakes up your belief systems.
Recently, we saw you tweeted a lot about certain things that the film industry was going through.
Yeah,
And you announced a film on news anchor Arnab Goswami as well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
some people criticized what you wrote. Why did this idea come to you?
I mean, see, for me, I think Arnab is just a kind of an example and also a symbol of what the future of the news media is going to be about. I mean, when you talk about the freedom of the press, when in the constitution they gave the freedom, I don't think they ever really expected someone like Arnab will come along the way, at the point of time. So there's a very thin line between reporting the news and influencing the minds of the people about probably what is not true. So my film is going to primarily deal with this aspect, like where the reportage starts getting into actually influencing the people, and if the news media is going to do trial by media, and then they become the judge, they become the investigators, I think it defeats the whole purpose of any kind of a process.
When we see an Arushi murder case happen in Noida, even
Mm.
when we saw a lot of media trial go on, why do you think now is the time that we should be talking about the reportage that we see on?
Yeah, I mean, I think the time now is important because see, even till Orishi, I think it was just like raising questions. There are questions with the people, there's questions with the media. But I don't think even at that time they were insinuating this happening. See, for example, if you take Sushant Singh murder case or suicide case or whatever they were trying to put it on, I don't hear about it anymore, and it's almost as if everybody forgot about it. And so, but if you remember a couple of months, 3, 4 months back at that time, the entire country was made to believe that Yah was responsible, X was responsible, Y was responsible, and everybody is silent, including the investigating agencies.
Right.
Yeah. So I think So, but by the time the characters of some people are assassinated, the reputations have been tarnished forever. A seed of doubt has been sown by the media regarding so many people, and I think it's grossly unfair and grossly, unjustified.
You also wrote saying that film industry has given us heroes, but it's also villains like Arnab Goswami who we should be standing up against. Can you just explain that statement?
I said in the context, like, generally the film industry people are scared of the media because they think they are a direct connect to the so-called fan base or whatever, and they think if the media starts talking negatively about them, they might lose their popularity, they might lose their stardom, and because of that they tend to remain quiet, though from inside they're hurting a lot. So I was just trying to provoke them. It's enough is enough. I mean, everyone has a voice in a democratic country, not just the media.
Thank you so much for speaking with
Thank
us, sir, and good luck for 12 o'clock. Looking forward to the film.
Yeah,
And thank you so much.
thank you.